Hello, hello! Welcome to the stream! David Snopek here from Snopek Games. See, one eyeball? That's unusual. I wonder if everyone's gone on a vacation weekend this weekend? I hope not, because I was hoping to do some playtesting. Well, anyway, how is everyone doing? If anyone is in fact watching, let me move our stream overlay thing. Ooh, hey, Ricardo's watching. Our stream overlay is a Godot game that we built on stream some number of weeks ago. Let me get it running. All right. Oh, not quite. It is now covering everything. I have to press this, and then this, and then this. Okay. Let me know if that's not working. Hopefully it is. Yeah, like I said, I wanted to do some playtesting, so I will quickly make a match ID, and I'll put that over in the chat. I will then explain, hey Gauntlet, how's it going? I'll then explain how you can get in here. So over at this URL on GitLab, the GitLab CI builds for the project. I'll put that link down here as well. Come over to this page. These are all the automated builds built by GitLab CI. If you want to learn how you can also have automated builds for your Godot game on GitLab CI, I have a series of YouTube videos about that. Anyway, at the top one, click the 3 vertical dots, grab the build that is for you, Windows, Linux, or Mac, and get it running. Then when you get into the game, you'll want to go to battle, and then join a private match, and then put in that match ID, and then we will do some battling. While I'm... Hey, Aircy, how's it going? Okay, so some people are showing up. I was nervous. I don't think I've ever had a stream before where I, like, put it on and it just had one eyeball. All right, so I'm feeling good now. I'm feeling good that some folks are getting on the stream. All right, So, for anyone who might be new to the stream or watching on the YouTube video later, I'll give a quick overview of what this project is. Oop, I was supposed to go full screen. The game is Retro Tank Party. You can get it on Steam or itch. It's a 2 to 4 player multiplayer party game thing where you drive around tanks, shoot your friends, there's some power-ups. It's fun. We've been working on converting it from the original netcode, which is very simplistic, to much more sophisticated rollback and prediction based netcode. Ooh, let me put the overlay back on. Sorry, I forgot I had taken that off to go to chat. Anyway, we are getting hopefully very, very close to actually being able to get the rollback and prediction version published out into the world. Yeah, I have a lot to say about that, but I don't want to use up too much time here. At the beginning, I'd like to jump into playtesting if anyone else is interested. Can any of you guys, Gauntlet, Aircy, Ricardo, anyone able to do some playtesting? I put all the stuff in the chat. If not, I guess that's fine. I have some pretty reproducible errors that I can show of some of the things going wrong. And I guess since no one's jumped in, I will talk a little bit about that. So last time, we were working on performance because there was definitely some performance issues. Ooh, Aircy's going to jump in. Awesome. Thanks, man. That were causing problems during playtesting. And I think there's still more that could be done performance-wise. But it's at a place that I think is more or less good enough. I mean, good enough to move on to the next thing. Maybe we'll come back to performance again later. This seems sort of circular. It's like I get all the networking stuff. I solve all the problems there, and then like, okay, what's the next biggest problem? Okay, performance. Then I go over to performance and get that working good enough, so that's no longer the biggest problem. And then like, okay, what's the next biggest problem again? Networking again. Like, okay, we'll go back to networking. And anyway, the performance stuff. Last time, what were we optimizing on stream? Oh, we were optimizing just the fixed properties, the fixed point properties like fixed position, because we're using special fixed point physics. And then there was some other stuff that I did over the weekend and this week, optimizing the broad phase. And then I did actually find some gains in the sync manager. I remember last week I was saying I didn't think there was anything else we could do to make the sync manager faster. I found a bunch of things. So just really quickly, I want to show you the broad phase stuff while I'm waiting for folks to get in. Ricardo's on the train and can't join. Oh, that's cool. Thanks for watching, even though you're on the train. I know that can be tricky all in its own right. So I have these demo projects in the physics engines project. This one was to test the broad phase. It actually doesn't exclusively test the broad phase. I could add some like extra methods that would allow us to test only the broad phase. It also tests, along with the broad phase, the actual like collision logic. And maybe I will try and tease that out later. So anyway, this demo just has a lot of moving things, and they turn black when they collide. And so every time they're moving, it's updating their position in the broad phase, and every time it's checking for a collision, it's querying the broad phase and also doing, you know, the normal collision stuff. And it is really pretty fast now. So here you can see the cumulative average of these three things that I'm measuring: querying physics, changing the position, which is updating the properties like we were working on last stream, and then updating the physics, which is updating broad phase, is down to these really low numbers. Like these are these microseconds or milliseconds? I think they're microseconds. I guess I'd have to check the code. I think it's an average of 6 microseconds for the querying physics, 3 microseconds for changing position, which, you know, just pretty expected because that's what we were working on last stream, and then 5 for updating the broad phase. So real fast. And this is not, this is with a debug build. This is not a release build. So it actually should be even faster in the release version of the game. And so I think this is definitely fast enough to say like, hey, we can stop working on this for a bit. So that means we're not going to be doing C++ stuff like we were doing last week. We're going to be back in GDScript, which I think makes for better streams. Everything's quicker, moves faster as we develop. So let me see. We got AirC. Oh no, AirC is stuck connecting. Oh, I know why. I think I know why. I was curious. Since Godot has a web version, can you issue tokens to join? Tokens. I'm not sure what you mean by tokens. You mean like a URL that you could like click, and then like that URL just like brings you straight into the game? Because if that's what you mean, absolutely, I think we could definitely do that. You can play the web version too. There's crossplay between the web and desktop version. And AirC, I know 100% why we're not connecting. So I'm actually gonna have to kill this match ID. I'm gonna exit out of here. And the reason is I've been using this special network relay mode for the testing that I've been doing on the networking issues lately. And so I'm going to switch that all the way back to auto, which should allow us to get connected. Sorry about that. I had forgotten that I was doing that. So let me make a new match ID. I will pass it off to the chat. And hopefully this one will work. Gauntlet says, great. Yeah, so that's a really great idea. The match IDs for the game are unfortunately these huge UUIDs, and that's not totally my fault. The UUIDs come from Nakama because we're using Nakama for the matchmaking, and not even just the matchmaking, but setting up the matches in the first place. And they identify matches with these big match IDs. These big UUIDs, and I've been meaning to add, because like it would, I don't know, 20 lines of code, I could add a little module to Nakama that would generate short versions. It would just like keep a little database of like, okay, so here's the real match ID, and I'm just going to generate something that's like 5 characters long and maintain this mapping between those 5 characters and the longer ID, and then we could use these like really short IDs. But I don't know, I haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, so let me write down your idea, Gauntlet, because that's an awesome idea. To have the like direct links in the HTML5 version. HTML5 direct links to match. That'd be really cool. So I should do both things. I should implement your idea and my original idea. So anyway, AirC, let's give this a shot. I hope it works. All right, and I'm going to turn on the network debug overlay so we can kind of see. We have a really decent ping going, around 150 milliseconds. Where'd you go? I'm just gonna hang out by the power-ups anyway. Get in a couple of shots if I can. I need that power. Oh, who got it? I didn't get it. Oh, you totally picked it up. Ah, you got the other one too. You are dominating the power-ups. Ah, it's railgun. Woo! I won anyway. I think all those early hits I got. Those early hits I was clocking in. So this is actually going really well. So things I'm watching out for. State mismatches over on the left. We're seeing a couple of them. We're going to work on state mismatches a little bit today, maybe. Depends on which bugs we get to working on. And I'm also watching the RTT and comparing that to the local lag and remote lag. So what I'm looking for is that the local lag and remote lag are what I would expect them to be for the given RTT. And it is about that. We're sort of oscillating between 2 and 4 lag-wise. And if we're saying each simulation frame is 33 milliseconds, you take 150, divide it by 33, you end up with a number around 4, right? Between 3 and 4. But yeah, there's way more state mismatches than I'd like. We're seeing a small amount of rollbacks, 1 and 2 ticks, which we're also, you know, just visually, there aren't a lot of artifacts from the rollback. So that's good. This is working fantastically. I mean, other than all those state mismatches, the networking's looking good. Over on the left to this advantage calculation. Oh, you killed yourself! Ah! That's the only way I was going to win while I was talking. Once I get talking and thinking, I can't think and play. I can't talk and play. Yeah, other than those state mismatches, things seem to be going quite well. And since the state mismatches aren't persistent, like, you would sort of expect if it's saying, if my client thinks I'm at one position and your client thinks I'm at another, that would just, happen always. Like you, I was hoping I could sneak in there, I couldn't. Oh, invisibility for the win! Oh, hey, the clean. I gotta take a look at what everybody's little characters are, because there's some pretty cool looking ones. I haven't had a chance to focus on it. So anyway, what I was saying about state mismatches is if there was a fatal state mismatch, like a game-breaking one, you'd expect it to just happen every frame. So we're getting like these occasional state mismatches, which can turn into fatal state mismatches. Like if it very briefly... Oh, there we go. Here's one of the bugs. Look at your tracers are like frozen in air. Oh, you got a totally broken weapon. So anyway, this is actually a pretty successful playtest. You got to see that tracer bug, which is on my list. Oh! And I'm even playing well? Are you going easy on me? Are you letting me win, Ersi? On those 2 playtests that you helped out on, you were pretty good at the game. I feel like I shouldn't be doing this good. Ooh! I'm gonna boost in there and get you real fast. Oh! That was really cool. That was really cool. I boosted in there, then you disappeared, and then reappeared, but I still got you. I still got you. All right. I can't believe how well that worked. That was phenomenal. I'm just gonna kill it for now. Ersi says, you're just doing better. So the clean says, hello everyone. The gauntlet says, so what's the ping difference? What would be cool is listing the game FPS and the ping for each player. So the game FPS, unless you see it stutter, should be at 60 frames per second. I don't know why my brain just went PAL for a moment. And the simulation runs at 30 frames per second. Yeah, when there's performance issues, that can fall below that, but I didn't see any frame rate dips, at least visually. I mean, they certainly could be happening. But yeah, unless yeah, Ping was saying 170 milliseconds in the lobby. I was watching it on the overlay, and it was kind of jumping between like, 125 to 175. So that was pretty good. If there's anyone else who can get in and playtest, maybe we can get like a match that doesn't go quite so well. That's so stupid to say. Like I want to see it work badly, but we're supposed to be finding bugs and fixing bugs. Otherwise, Ersi says, I might have had frame rate dips on my end, but it could have been my PC. I have a bunch of stuff going on. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I need to get some... So, there is still a very serious problem that I think is in networking. Oh, hey, Kunanan Kuham. I'm sure I'm saying your name wrong. Kunham. Yeah, I assume your name is very similar to the person who's working on adding the on-screen joystick. There's somebody who is working on adding an on-screen joystick to the game. There's an issue that they opened over on the GitLab project, and that's so cool. Open source is the funnest thing in the world, and the fact that someone is contributing their free time to add an on-screen joystick, like, thank you so much, assuming that you are the person. But yeah, so I'm gonna, if no one else says they can join in, I'll just try and demonstrate for you guys like the big problem that's still remaining, and I will do that by going to this network relay mode here, this fallback forced. And I guess I'm in the release version of the game because that's what we were doing, but it's actually easier to make happen in the not release version. But let's just start this up here. So the performance improvements, I think, helped with one sort of death spiral that we were having in previous playtests, but there still is a death spiral, which I think is based on networking, and I think I should be able to get it to happen relatively low effort. We might have to switch to the debug version of the game if I can't get it to happen quickly enough. But what seems to happen is we'll get into a situation where suddenly more rollbacks happen than where a bunch of rollbacks happen, which lead to more rollbacks happening, which lead to more rollbacks happening, and then all of a sudden our RTT is fine, but our local and remote lag just gets huge, and the game can't regain sync, it crashes, which is not happening right now. Let me give it another, let me quit and come back in. It does seem to have this tendency to happen like right at the start of the match. It's like the match gets started on the wrong foot and somehow just can't get back into sync. Come on, come on, come on, come on. We might have to do the debug version of the game. Yeah. Well, anyway, me and Elliot have been playtesting almost every morning. And it was really demoralizing, to be honest. So I like came off the weekend, like I solved all these performance problems, and I'm like, Elliot, let's play this. It's going to be amazing. And Elliot and I, it turns out, for whatever reason, he lives really close to me, have a terrible network connection between us. And this death spiral just like made the game unplayable most of the time, like 90% of the matches. And I ended up coming up with a way to reproduce it by setting up this fallback network relay, which has pretty bad network, pretty bad latency. And yeah, it made me feel like just, I don't know, terrible, because I had put so much work in. I thought performance was the last thing, and it turns out it's not. I think what I'm going to have to do to solve that last death spiral is put in just like a ton of data gathering into the game, and then come up with like some creative ways to visualize it so I can like really see what the heck is going wrong. Where does this death spiral start and where does it go? But we're not going to be working on that today. We are not. We are going for something much easier. I've had this sort of buildup of bugs on my to-do list here, and I've got about 10 bugs here. And we are going to work down the list, and we're going to squash these bugs, and we're going to feel good about it. We're going to pick some easily accomplishable tasks, accomplish them, because these bugs got to get fixed anyway, right? They're, you know, the tracers you saw in the match with AirC, they just sort of like stick in the air and don't quite work. You know, there's an issue where if the game predicts that one player died, but after rolling back realizes, oops, that player didn't actually die, it will say that, you know, the other player has won on the screen, even though they clearly have not won. There's all those state mismatches that we were seeing, those like little one-off state mismatches, which I don't know exactly the cause of, but we'll dig into them. There's this weird bug where like you'll shoot a drop crate, a pickup will appear, you'll go pick it up, and then it'll suddenly reappear in a different spot, and you won't have gotten the power up. Like it'll be a tracer or whatever, and you'll drive over it, and you won't get tracer, and then the tracer will appear over here, and then you go drive over that one, and then you'll get tracer, which I think might be related to the performance improvement we were doing last stream, but I haven't had a chance to dig into it. The tank sometimes stays white after it has gotten hit, which I think is maybe just a state saving reloading thing, possibly. I'm not sure. There was an issue that Clean had on a playtest a couple weeks ago where he zapped and then or boosted and then immediately zapped and then was just like going crazy. The team start positions don't work on the football map. I don't know why. This one I don't know that we'll be able to work on. Sometimes the game crashes when a player is killed. I don't know. We'll see. There is a just like a series of things you can do when setting up a match that will cause the game to have this error every single time. And then, yeah, this other things, this thing where the state hash frames have the wrong tick number. I don't know. So we'll just start digging into these. We're gonna dig into them. We're gonna fix them. Maybe later, if more people are available to playtest, we'll playtest again. And maybe find some more bugs. Verify if those ones have been fixed. I'm checking out your guys. Ooh, someone stuck at the bottom. What is the key here? Is it V? There we go. I'm gonna check out your guys' little characters we got on the overlay. So I'm an orc rocking a wizard robe, or maybe it's a dress, or a wizard robe. I'm not sure. Aircy is looking really cool with that big beard and like a centurion helmet. The Clean is looks like a disco orc. Kind of a fro going. Gauntlet just kind of looks like a person in a dress. Ricardo, yeah, I got another sort of disco do orc with maybe that's some plate mail. And Kunham, I'm sorry, I'm probably butchering your name. If you tell me how it's pronounced, really, I will make an attempt to pronounce it for real. It's got a pretty sweet costume there with a sword. Yeah, we got some good, very orc heavy. 4 out of 6 are orcs. Gauntlet, yeah, if you hit 1,000 milliseconds, then you find issues. Yeah, so 1,000 milliseconds, you will definitely find issues, because that's about as long as our state buffer is, so the game has to stop once you hit that kind of problem. Do you have bots in the game to simulate? No, bots is like the next thing I want to add after we get rollback working. I think that's actually the last thing I really want to add to the game before kind of basically moving on to other things, moving on to other games. Rollback, those art packs from Ross, which are looking fantastic. I've showed them off on different streams, and bots. And then I think I will work on something else. Something probably VR, I think. Maybe you need a proxy, direct the path via internet. I'm not entirely sure what that was in reference to, maybe like as far as simulating things and breaking it with the network. But I have a whole bunch of ways to affect how fast the network is working. I have that relay server that I set up special. I have ways to tell my computer to artificially add latency or packet loss and stuff. So we have a bunch of ways to simulate things. Ricardo says, I'm watching in 240p, so thanks for the description in words. Yeah, so now you know what all the characters look like. 240p, it's probably just a blurry mess. All right, so let's dig into this. Let's pick a bug, and oh yeah. So Gauntlet, that I get what you're saying now. So he says because your neighbor to you were having bad lag. Yeah, so that was really interesting. The default operation of the game is it will try to make a peer-to-peer connection first. So it'll make not going through any relay, just my computer to his computer. One side will open up a port, the other side will connect, and bam. That is definitely the most terrible. It has like this really weird oscillating latency that's just all over the map, and that is definitely the most unplayable. And then I set up this fallback relay, and it's much bigger latency, but a stable latency. We'll hit like a stable latency of like 150 to 200 milliseconds, which is funny because that fallback relay server is in Chicago. I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin. My buddy is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Like, that relay server should be super fast, and it's actually like slower than me and Aircy playing, and Aircy's in France. So we just have terrible internet over here. At least I do. Maybe Elliot's got good internet. But yeah, I think it's something about like, because we're close to each other, it's going over some weird network path, which is apparently totally unstable. And then we set up this relay which is going over a different network path and is so much more stable. So anyway, that is weird. I think you're kind of right about, oh, interesting. You would think peer-to-peer would be the best, but not if the ISP redirects you poorly. Yeah, I think it's the ISP like just doing a bad job of dealing with this peer-to-peer connection between people who are close to each other, because their engineers have optimized and tested and really watched like all of the from the ISP to the internet, and probably don't put a lot of time or energy or effort into, because we're actually on the same ISP just in different cities, right? So there's probably some like backbone connection we're going over that nobody cares about. Anyway, let's dig into this. Let's pick a bug and try to solve it. We'll do the tracer one because that was one that we actually saw in the match with Ersi, and hopefully will be easy to find. I think it's a new bug. I think it was something in our performance optimizations that broke it, and so hopefully we'll be able to find it pretty quick. So let me get the project loaded up in the editor. Loading. Did everyone have a good Halloween? It was just Halloween weekend last. I haven't had a chance to talk with most of you since Halloween. Halloween on my end was pretty vanilla. My girls dressed up as Sasha was Jojo Siwa, which you won't know who that is unless you are yourself quite young or have young kids. And Ava dressed up as a cheerleader, and they did trick-or-treating and ate too much candy and all that stuff. And I played Resident Evil 4 as like my sort of Halloween-themed thing to do. So far, the game hasn't been too terrifying for me. And it's pretty fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I got to get in there and play it some more. Okay, so let's get the game launched. Oh, and I didn't mention, I just saw it because in my command line history, I also was running the game through Valgrind and doing some profiling that way. Which helped me find a couple more optimizations that I was able to make. So, okay, let me switch. We're not going to use the fallback when we're doing just this testing. We'll still do auto. And let's just really quickly reproduce the issue that we were seeing with the tracer. And then we will look at the code in the tracer and maybe do some breakpoints, try to figure out what's going on here. Oh, and I'm not going to find any tracers. Ah! Okay, before we do that, let's mess around with the frequency of the power-ups so that tracers show up a lot. Right now we have things all skewed towards these other power-ups that have been sort of problematic in rollback. So I'm going to quick reset their rarity. And then I will crank up the rarity of tracers, or I should change this to frequency. I've talked about that before because a higher number makes it happen more often. So that's going to mess everything up. We'll have to restart the game, but that's fine. Should go quickly since I already inputted all the things. Oh, Ricardo's asking about what optimizations came from Valgrind. So there was a bunch of stuff related to the fixed point math that was way slower than it should have been. I guess I have to wait for a power-up. Primarily, like, I ran Valgrind and it said the slowest thing was multiplying fixed point numbers. And I was like, why on earth is multiplying fixed point numbers the slowest thing in this profile? And do you remember we added all of that arithmetic checking for overflow? All those different overflow checks? Yeah, there we go. So what seems to be happening is it goes normal speed, and then when it detects and when it like locks on, it goes like way slower. Yeah. So we'll look at the code and see what that is. Anyway, so what I ended up doing to fix the fixed point math, which is, I don't know, sort of a cop-out, but also sort of fine, is I ended up making those math checks into just a debug mode thing. So what is that? Fixed number. So, where is multiplication? I see addition, I see subtraction. Here's multiplication. So, before we were doing these checks always, and I've changed it so now we only do it when this fixed math checks define is on. And that's only on when the engine is compiled with debug enabled, which would be when you are running it in the editor. I also switched it from just returning this arithmetic overflow constant to also putting an error that will appear in the debugger console in the game. So the idea is that these checks will be available when you are running the game in the editor, and you need to watch when you're doing your testing for any of these messages appearing, and assuming that you don't ever get any, you're going to say, okay, my game is probably safe as far as overflows are concerned, and then when you release it, it's going to disable all of these checks and just do the fast thing. And the reason this is so slow, and I don't know why I didn't think about this like without having to have Valgrind tell me, is that it's turned every single multiplication, when the checks are enabled, it turns every single multiplication into 4 divisions and then a multiplication. 4 divisions. Even doing a division does not lead to more divisions. Doing a division leads to like some equality checks and then just 1 division. But multiplication was making 4 divisions and a multiplication. So anyway, that is the main thing that I found via Valgrind. There was also one check I think I was doing in the broad phase that I was able to change from like looping over an array into 4 comparisons. And that was also a nice thing. So Valgrind did yield some useful data. Anyway, let's take a peek at the code to solve what the heck is going on with this. We'll go check out the code for Tracer, which I guess is in the core mod. Tracer. We set the target on the bullet. We have special tracer bullets. So that's got to be where this is going wrong, inside the tracer bullet, right? Target seek speed. Alright, so we get a target. We calculate a target vector. We interpolate using... Oh, that's interesting. I wonder why I did it like that. I mean, I guess it's always worked fine. But this is sort of weird. So the way linear interpolate works, and this is the same on our special vector class as normal vector 2s, is you're interpolating from your current vector to another vector, and this parameter is the weight value, which is a number between 0 and 1 to say how far you're interpolating. And normally, you would sort of scale that weight value up, but it looks like what we're doing here is we're using a fixed weight value. So we're interpolating from our current vector to the target vector by the same amount every single frame. And I guess that turns out to be fine. It just, rather than smoothly interpolating from one to the other, it's sort of like subdividing, more like a binary search towards the position than a smooth, transition. So I think I know what's going on here. When I was optimizing bullets, if we go to the bullet class, this used to, every single frame, it would multiply the vector by the speed. But what I ended up doing was simply pre-calculating, pre-multiplying the vector, and then every frame just adding it. That removed a dynamic memory allocation and a multiplication. So that's generally a win. If every frame you're doing a dynamic memory allocation and a multiplication, you can avoid it. Let's avoid it. So we have to do the same thing. We have to do the same thing in Tracer, or we have to just say, like, in Tracer we don't pre-calculate, we'll like calculate on the fly. That's also an acceptable solution. Okay, so the target vector, we're getting a vector pointing from our current position to the target's position and normalizing it. And then we are interpolating from this vector to that. Okay, so the normalizing, what if we just stop normalizing? Will that work? Possibly not. I haven't thought it all the way through, but I'd like to see. So here we're going to cheat a little bit. If I shoot from, or this one is not the one with the tracer. Haha, okay, let me go have this tank pick up tracer. We should have live reloaded the code, so this one... Whoa! It like went zoom right into him. Okay, so we can't just remove the normalize. We might have to do it... Ooh, and yeah, of course, there's state mismatches, because I only changed one client, not the other. Okay. So... let's just get rid of the pre-calculating. We'll say... once you have a target, we are going to do our own thing. So let's see if we can just get rid of the pre-calculation. We can't really. This is making me regret this pre-calculation, because it means we can't like just adjust the speed value and have that do something. I bet the performance gains of this aren't even that big. Maybe let's just get rid of this pre-calculation, because that just simplifies everything. I'll add a to-do that says, is there a way to pre-calculate the vector times speed without losing flexibility in child classes? So I'll leave it to my future self to maybe solve that. I'm not sure that we even need that optimization. It's, like I said, it eliminates a dynamic memory allocation and a multiply. But in the grand scheme of things, probably doesn't save us too much time. I don't know. We'll give it a try. Where did Tracer go? Tracer bullet. And I see there's a whole bunch of comments coming up. I will take a break to answer your guys'... not answer necessarily, not necessarily questions. I'll take a break to look at your guys' comments in a moment. Okay, so I think if I just add the normalize back on all of these, this should go back to working as before. Right? Actually, integrating the pre-multiplication of the speed wouldn't even be that hard. Wouldn't it just be this? Still makes this way less flexible, though. I don't know. Let's try this. Let's just make sure this works. We can consider the performance impact. Okay, so that's a normal shot. Ah, crash! Non-existent normalize on base SG fixed vector 2. Oh, normalized. I crashed it. Alright. Okay, I'll go take a look at the comments, and then we'll rerun this. What's going on, guys? Turn on little Chromebook. You can do it. Only 2 groups showed up this year. I had to eat all the treats by myself. The clean had a lot of sugar this Halloween. Can you post a GitLab link with the overflow check, please? Oh, and the clean found it. Is the player sprite / tile set resolution 32 by 32 for your game? It is not. It's actually quite large. It's either 64 by 64 or 128 by 128. Are you asking because you would like to create a sweet art pack? I hope that's why you're asking. But let's look it up really quick. There is in the works, like I mentioned before, a system to have configurable art packs to swap out the art that I've been working on with Ross. There's a special branch with that code. So if you do want to make like a custom art pack, like ping me and I'll point you to that separate branch, because if you try to do it on the main version of the code, it's like way harder. Where do I want to be looking? I want to be finding this terrain tiles. No, this doesn't tell me the size for some reason. Let me find a map. Ah! What did I do? Let me find a map here. Look at the battlefield map. And that will have the tile map. Yeah, 128 by 128. So they're pretty big tiles. That's just the size they were in Kenny's asset pack, although he did provide two sizes. I think he provided a 128 by 128 version and a 64 by 64 version. And at the time, I guess I just wanted to use the bigger one. I don't know. But yeah. Let's try our tracer bullets and see if that fixed it. Alright, so I guess we gotta kill 20 seconds, waiting for the power-ups to turn up. I could always have increased that time a little bit too. Yeah, I guess I'm still debating with myself whether or not to keep the pre-multiplication of the vector in. Because I think I see how we would do it. There we go. That is the way that should work. Yeah, so let me just experiment with, here, I will add this in Git, but not commit it, so I can kind of keep a handle on it. This is in, I guess, the bullet and the tracer class. Okay, this is annoying. Let me open up a new terminal here. So I'm not trying to type in a terminal that's getting input. So I'm going to add objects bullet. And I guess I didn't have to make any changes to tracer on that one. And I'm going to try the other way around of doing this. So I think... Right, we're getting a target vector, which is normalized. Then we need to normalize this vector and then multiply it. That seems like a lot of extra work, though. So we've... Is there a better way to do this? Can we eliminate a normalize? So if we... We could think of this not in terms of vectors, but in terms of rotations. That might make this work. So we calculate the target vector. We don't have to normalize it because we don't care. Then we get target angle, goes target vector angle, and then we will interpolate the angle. So like vector angle equals take the vector angle, then we need to, do we have a fixed point interpolate angle method? I don't think we do. I don't think we wrote that. I don't really feel like writing it right now either. It's not complicated, right? It just has to make a decision of whether it's going to interpolate positively or negatively. But I don't know. I'm not going to mess with that. Let's just fix this bug and move on. Let's just fix this bug and move on. I'm going to stick with the solution we already have. I'll just check in here to make sure that come on. What did I modify? Okay, whatever. I'll use Git to reset that back. Mods, core, weapons, tracer bullet. Any solution is better than no solution. You could probably scale those, like LOD or low settings for player might boost performance over network. Would lerp help in this situation? Yes, lerp would help. We do need to lerp. The thing is that we never implemented a rotation lerp for fixed point numbers, and the built-in Godot lerp is floating point numbers. So yeah, I think we could probably maintain this optimization with the pre-multiplied vectors if we had a way to interpolate angles in fixed point math. And I'm just feeling lazy right now. I want to fix bugs and move on. That's the mood I'm in at the moment. So this bug is basically fixed. I want to do Vim. So we'll get rid of that one. And we can add the to-do. We have the to-do and the bullet in there. Let me just look at the changes really quick. Yep, I'll make a nice commit message to remind me that we removed a small optimization to make this work. Undid bullet optimization to pre-multiply the vector in order to preserve flexibility with bullet child classes. Which fixed, this is a very wordy commit message, which fixed tracer bullets. All right. So we'll push that one, GitLab CI will get busy building it, so it'll be ready if we playtest again later. Let's do the next bug. Rollback player death, but left player has one message up. Need state for overlay text? I think so. I think this is going to be a hard one to test. I don't know how to on purpose create this situation, but the solution is definitely that we need to have, we need to set up the overlay to participate in the rollback mechanism and save and load its state, which should be pretty straightforward to do. I think I haven't looked at this code in a while. Where is this code? UI layer, score HUD, maybe. I'm gonna go look in the different match modes, create these match manager scenes, and I'm pretty sure that that is what is adding the text, but I think they all get it from some scene that they're instancing. So, oh, interesting. Maybe that's not how it's done. Let's go check out base manager. Okay, so base manager gets past the UI layer, and the UI layer is the thing that's doing it. Maybe it's just UI layer. I thought UI layer was smaller, though, a more fine-grained component. No, okay, UI layer is it. UI layer is the thing. So, to get it to participate in the rollback, we need to add it to the network sync group, which our asset for implementing rollback, our little library, uses to decide which nodes to manage or not. And we just basically need to save state, load state. So save state will return a dictionary. So the thing I started thinking about, that we need to save and load this state, but we don't necessarily want this state to be part of state mismatches. Because I could imagine a world where there's a message that's specific to a client that isn't you know, so like a client gets a message that says like, we lost our connection with peer 2 or something, and then they immediately regain their connection with peer 2, and that only affected that client. Like, we shouldn't say, oh my god, your state mismatched because everyone didn't get that exact same message at the exact same time. So I think what we need to do is use this feature that I added some weeks back, where if we prefix something with an underscore, it gets saved in state, but not used when calculating the hash on the state, which means it won't be part of comparing the states for detecting mismatches. So we need to somehow grab the text that is being shown. Okay, so that's the message label and whether or not it's visible. So we'll say message text, message label text, and message visible, message label visible. And I think that should be enough to fix this problem. And then we need to just set that stuff back. So set message label text equals state message text, message label visible, state message visible. What did I do wrong? Oh, I used the wrong character. There we go. Cool. We have no way to test this, at least that I can think of predictably, so we'll just have to commit this and hope it works in playtesting. I guess we should first just make sure everything doesn't crash. Let's do a round where some messages get shown. So yeah, we got to. Oh, you know what I'm going to do though? I'm going to switch to using this fallback forced relay setting, which will increase the likelihood of us maybe being able to actually cause this bug to happen, but it is no sure thing. So I'm gonna have this guy go over there, kill the other guy. It'll show a message on the screen. Message is on the screen. That became part of state. We don't see it, but we know it did. We got some state mismatches, but not related to this. Oh, we are getting loads of state mismatches. Yeah, so it's not crashing. That's kind of all I wanted to verify, that it wasn't breaking anything. And so we'll commit that. That will be part of our next playtest. You know what? I think I'm going to, like, I'm trying to avoid committing these changes that I made to the pickups, their rarity levels. I think I'm just going to restore those to what their values are supposed to be, and then commit them, so I don't have to keep worrying about that. It's under pickups. And the only one that isn't set the way it should be is tracer. There we go. So I'm just going to make a commit that has those. Say restored pickup rarity to normal values. We can always mess with it again later if there's particularly a power-up we want to test. Okay, this is good. So save and load state of, we'll say UI layer message to prevent wrong messages during rollback. And this actually isn't necessarily the perfect fix to this problem. A better fix would be to have certain gameplay messages only show up after we have fully complete input for that period of time, because this still kind of sucks. Like, it could say this player has won for 3 frames, and then it goes away, and people are going to see that and be like, what? It said I won for 3 frames, and then it took it back. So a better solution would be to have, you know, every frame after it has decided, like, okay, I think a player has won, it should be checking, do we have complete input? And then only when we have complete input, show the message. That does get a little weird if it's part of state now. I guess these two ideas of how to fix it are mutually exclusive. If we were to do this more sophisticated technique of only showing it once input is complete, we would want to not have it, you know, save and load state, because they would kind of conflict with each other. But this is good enough for now. I don't need the perfect solution. I just need a solution. Okay. Figure out the new slew of state mismatches. I'm sure I spelled the word slew wrong. That doesn't look right at all. Isn't it like this? Is that slew? I like Irishized it or something. I saw some chat coming through. Come on, Chromebook. Hey, Slacks! Welcome to the stream! It's been a little bit since you've been on stream. What kind of character did you get? Oh, you got like a witch ogre with a mustache. But with the witch hat with the mustache. I like it. I like it. All right, so the state mismatches are actually kind of tricky. Maybe let's address some easier stuff first. Can't get team start positions in the football map. Ah, football mode. Football mode, the thing that started the whole trip down rollback and prediction. The never to have yet seen the light of day football mode. Let's give it a try. All right, so football, and it should crash right away when we start the match. Crash! Okay, so for some reason, it's just like not getting the team start positions. I don't know why. So let's poke around in here. Gauntlet says, do you use the Chromebook for chat? Yes, I do. I didn't used to, but I only have 2 monitors. I actually have a 3rd monitor, but I can't get it to work with my laptop for some reason. And with the overlay for stupid technical reasons has to take over an entire monitor. So I have the monitor that I'm hacking on, I have the monitor that has the overlay on it, and then I need another thing for chat. I really wish I could get that 3rd monitor to work. I've wasted a lot of time trying to make it happen, but I haven't gotten it to work yet. Okay, so yeah, Slacks was saying, been watching Lentius and Jotson streaming. I'm actually not sure I know who those folks are. Feel free to share the links, because if it's cool game dev streams, I always am into watching cool game dev streams. So okay, let's figure this out. So do match setup is running. We're getting team start transforms. And oh, there's a breakpoint here. Why is there a breakpoint here? Maybe because I was looking into this before. Well, that's just, so it didn't crash yet. We just got a breakpoint. Let's look at the scene tree that we're getting in the remote tab here. From the debugger. So this is not the scene tree that's saved. This is the scene tree that's in the running game. Interesting. So map's got nothing on it. I wonder if map hasn't been loaded yet? Maybe we did a change to the game that changed the time at which the map is loaded, because the map should have like children. It shouldn't just be an empty node. But that would definitely explain why this isn't giving us anything. So okay, when is this called? Do match setup. Do match setup. It's on base manager, or it's a child of base manager. And I feel like this should be calling like game setup somewhere in here, but I don't see it. Oh no, here we go. Here's game setup. Okay, so game setup happens. And here's we're doing, okay, I think these just need to be in the opposite order. I think this just needs to come here. Because I think game setup will actually load the map, at which point this code should work. And what is get player start transforms? Start transforms. So team size. Okay, that's not gonna work. We're in like a circular situation here. Okay, let's go back up to the top here. Maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. Do match setup. So we're loading the map. Oh, okay, no, wait, we're calling it on map temp. Okay, so we've loaded the map. Never mind, this should work. This should work. So we're calling it on map temp. So I think that was my attempt to deal with the circular sort of situation here. That game setup loads the map, but we haven't loaded it yet. So we load it here and we instance it. Okay, so my looking in the remote tree didn't help because I'm looking at the wrong thing. I guess let's just run this line. Let's do step over. And let's see if team start positions. Return nothing. Return null. Get node or null. Team start positions. Let's go look at the football map. Should have a node called team start positions. Has the right script attached to it. Yep, that's this script, team start positions. Just gonna copy and paste this text in here in case I made like a tiny typo or something. Doesn't look like it. Queen says, Johnson game looks amazing. Johnson is the guy behind Gravity Ace. Oh, Lenchus was streaming making a productivity app in Godot. Mad productivity. Interesting. I will have to check those out. Are those just like their Twitch names? Will I just be able to go to like Twitch TV/Johnson and find him? Why on earth would this not be working? We instanced it, so it should have all of its children, right? Is it some weird thing with us using node paths here? Guess I'll try that. I don't know why that would matter. But let's just try it. Cool, Slacks says those are the Twitch handles. Okay, and we're hitting the breakpoint. And I'm just going to step into it, see what happens. Oh, we still get null. What on earth? It's also weird that like we're doing this on demand every time. Like we're going to call team start transform 2 times for team 1 and team 2, and both times we're grabbing the same root thing. I wonder why I did that. Are we maybe loading a map different than I think we are? Is something going wrong in the map loading process? What's the map path? Map scene? Map path. Battlefield. That's wrong. Why is map path battlefield? It definitely shouldn't be. When I was setting this up, did it show the right map? Let's try it again. So it looks like for some reason it's just passing in the battlefield map when it really should be passing in the football map. It's been a really long time since I play tested football. Oh, it's on. You shouldn't be allowed to pick a map. Football should force you to the football map. Interesting. So something's going wrong with that. And this will stop at our breakpoint, but it should work now. Yeah, okay, cool. So I just wasn't noticing that it was giving me map selection when it should definitely not have given me map selection. And now here we are, we're in the right places and everything. All right, let's go look in the UI, figure out why it is giving me map selection when it should not be. So that is in something under main. Main match setup. Let's go to the match setup scene. And we have the map screen. I forget how any of this works. How does it decide whether it's going to show the map screen or not? And where was it that we were? Okay, show map screen. So map screen loads. Update map field for mode. Okay, so mode screen, get mode, update map field for mode. I think this is where it might be limiting the available maps based on the game mode. Okay, so if the mode requires goals and the map says it has goals, then it will add it. If it does not, then it won't add it. So let's make sure our mode says it requires goals and our map says that it has goals. Are those the resources? I think they are. So that means we need to find the mode resource, the game mode resource. We have our, the game is set up to take mods, which is why it has all these things represented as resources. And even the core game modes are implemented as mods. Okay, so football says requires goals. And then we need to find the resource for the map. Football has goals on. Do the rest of them say they have goals? No, it has them off. Interesting. So the mechanism is in place. It's just not working. Update map field for mode. I think we'll set a breakpoint. Set a breakpoint and see what happens. What? Shouldn't we have hit that breakpoint? I'm a little confused here. Let's back out of here. Go from teams into here. Okay, now we're hitting this. Then we're saying UI layer get screen mode screen, which clearly we have right here. Back to the code. But I'm willing to bet this gives us a null. Mode screen, null. So something's going wrong in UI layer get screen. Oh. I think I'm just I was calling get node or null, which was happening at the root level, and I think it needed to happen on this screens node. Let's give this a shot. Let's continue. Ooh, did I break everything? Broke everything. Okay, let's try again. That was easy. I think there was during my several rounds of optimizations, I realized I was using this pattern where I was all the time saying has node and then get node, which is fine. You know, what's the difference between doing 2 calls and 1 call? I mean, the performance difference is very, very small. But I was like, well, why should I ever be calling two functions, has node and then get node, when I could simply call get node or null? And then I went through the whole code base, and every single time I had a has node, get node, I replaced it with get node or null. And one of those places was in this get screen method, and I think that's where things went wrong. So now it got it. Cool. Let me get rid of my breakpoints here. And everything broke again. Okay, we'll try again. One of the things that sucks with debugging network games is when one of the games is paused in the debugger, it can crash the session, and it makes it difficult. Okay, cool. So it only gave me one map, the football map. We go here, and it took a second, but ooh, here we go. Here's that death spiral I was talking about. We're seeing it in action. Yeah, look at this. So it's probably super hard to see, but the RTT is 100 milliseconds, but the local lag, for some reason, is 19, and the remote lag is -7, and it cannot get out of that state. That is the death spiral. The RTT is such that we should be able to be having like 3, 4, 5 frames of lag, but it's going the whole distance. So anyway, I'm happy I did finally manage to demonstrate that. But cool, we solved this problem. Let's just make sure everything is as it should be. We'll look at the Git Diff. Oh, that's interesting. A whole bunch of stuff in the way the scene is saved has changed. I think this is related to the changes that we did last stream, where we changed the way these fixed properties worked. I don't know if this is right or not. This might be a sign that we got something wrong last time. I'm not sure. Because this is really weird. Why should the scale be 1.00001 when the fixed scale is not 1.00001? Like, it's the fixed scale is not specified, so that would mean fixed scale is exactly 1. And since we're translating from fixed to scale, or hang on. So in the editor, we convert floating point scale back to fixed scale. But we should always, every time we do that, we should always complete the loop back so that the floating point value is never something that isn't equivalently represented in fixed point, right? Because I could imagine a world where we change the fixed scale to this, but we're actually not able to represent that in fixed point that just rounds to 1. That should force the floating point scale to match, right? So I'm going to not save the changes that this has made to the football map pending investigation of that. We don't want this to break all our maps. Let me add a thing to the to-do about it. So this will be bug re-saving maps changes properties in ways that look fishy. And make sure changes to scale will change fixed scale, which will change scale. Right? We need for it to go that way when we're changing the floating point value, but when we change the fixed point value, we just need to do half of that, just from here to here. Otherwise, we end up in a world of inconsistency, which we do not want. So, okay. We'll check that out next because like we just worked on it last week and I want to not get too far away from it. So don't, unload all those variables from my brain. How are we doing on time, folks? 11:15? Geez, time flies. We fixed like 3 bugs. We only have 45 minutes left. Definitely I'll have to try and make sure we save some time for some playtesting at the end so we can see how the game works after having fixed these bugs. Okay, so the fix bug with loading team start positions in football mode. Okay, so I know I did say we weren't going to do C++ today. Sorry. We're at least going to take a peek at it. So that would be SG fixed node 2D. And I guess we want the CPP file. Okay, so this changed callback is when we are going from the floating point properties to the fixed point properties. Then we go into here, set fixed position, and rather than actually updating it, last time we switched this to just mark the fixed X form as dirty, and that's totally where we broke it. That's totally where we broke it, because in the editor, we need this to take one more step. And we could do that by putting some junk at the end of set fixed position that checks if it's in the editor, but we are not, because I think we can do it easier. We know that this is only called in the editor, so we can do it here. We set the fixed position, and then we need to loop back around and set it again. So to make sure we don't enter an infinite loop, we actually need to do this here. These macros basically just set updating transform. Actually, I can not use the macros. That should be fine. So I made the macros so that I wouldn't have to constantly surround this in if tools enabled, if def tools enabled. But since this whole function is surrounded in if def tools enabled, we can just make it easier on ourselves and write the actual literal variables, which is nice since macros are kind of magical. You don't know what they do without going to find the source. So updating transform equals true equals false. That should work. So then we need to set position again by converting from fix. Or wait, could we even just do, what's the method that's actually updating the transform when it's marked dirty? We could just like call that. What's doing that? Update float transform. Yes, beautiful. So we can make this even simpler by calling update float. And okay, then we don't even need these, right? I should always look for code we've already written before I start writing new code, because this is perfect, I think. I think if we set the things, the update float transform, that will wrap these start updating transform, stop edit, updating transform things around it. It will reset the fixed X form dirty. This should be great. I guess I do worry about it being called during scene loading. Will this be called during scene loading? So we set it up in our constructor. I don't know. So my worry is scenes are loaded piecemeal, right? And if we load like fixed position and then a moment later load position, that will kind of like corrupt fixed position. Or no, maybe not, because we're doing this round trip thing that will make them convert nicely. I just don't want to be in a situation where if we load a scene, save a scene, load a scene, save a scene, it'll like change every time. You know? I want it to be stable. I guess we can test if that's the case. Let's check the diff, make sure I didn't do anything weird. All I added was one line. I love those kind of changes. Let's compile this. I guess I will close the editor. And let me check what it's going to launch. It's going to launch the editor of Retro Tank Party. Beautiful. And we are compiling. And back to waiting for things to compile. So, I know at least the Clean is into VR. I don't know if anyone else is. But I also picked up yesterday the Blade and Sorcery Nomad for the Quest 2, which I wasn't originally going to do. I really wasn't going to, because it's all smooth motion, and I get like really bad VR sickness. And I honestly could only play the game for about 15 minutes because of the smooth motion. And maybe, I don't know, like people always talk about this VR legs thing. Like if I played it for 15 minutes every day, like maybe after a month, I'd be able to play it for longer or something. I don't know. But it was cool. It was cool, other than I felt just horrible afterwards. I spent like an hour and a half just like drinking ginger ale and feeling sick. And then I felt better after about an hour and a half from my 15 minutes of playing the game. But that's it's like a physics sandbox, kind of like medieval RPG style fighting thing. And it looks cool. It seems really cool. I want to love it. I want to be able to play those kind of games. But, oh man, I just get such terrible VR sickness. But it's only $20. I'm like, I gotta try it. Everybody's talking about it. I gotta play it. All right, so let's see. We are checking if loading the football map and saving it will cause problems. So football, we've loaded it. We're saving it. Let's go check the Git Diff. Of course, it changed it. But did it need to change it? Like, because this might be the first time it's done the round trip? Or is this representative of a problem? The thing I particularly don't like when I'm looking at this diff is the scale changes. Like, it's this teeny tiny scale change, which maybe it has to do for this rotation, right? Yeah, but why does it need to change this rotation? So if this was the fixed rotation should have stayed the same. Man, we're gonna need something to prevent this from messing things up during scene loading. I bet that's what we're gonna need to do. Aircy, I also have issues finding the time to get used to VR sickness. Yeah, because it's like not fun. There's so many games that I can play with comfortable modes for me that like I'm just like, well, why even suffer? You know, why play a game that makes me feel like crap for an hour and a half when I can just play Beat Saber or Half-Life Alyx with teleport turned on? Or my daughters really like this game Baby Hands. It's such a weird game. You're like a baby and you just crawl around like causing havoc. And I haven't played it very much, but my daughters really like it. And it has what is essentially smooth motion, but you're going like this to move you through the smooth motion. You're like pretending to crawl. And for some reason, that doesn't give me VR sickness. I don't know why. There's like other ones where you do like a jogging thing. In that game you made, The Clean, you have kind of like a sort of jogging mechanic to it for motion. And that was definitely better than like pressing the joystick for smooth motion as far as VR sickness, but it still was uncomfortable. I still felt some sickness from that. But for some reason, the baby hands, like maybe because it's slow enough, I don't know. That game somehow like is totally playable for me. Anyway, how are we going to fix this, guys? Is there something we can check to know that we are in scene loading or not? I've got an idea. Okay, so let's go back to our sgfixnode2d CPP file. And we are adding this callback in the constructor. What if we don't add it in the constructor? What if we only add it once we are ready? And that could be weird. Maybe. No, because this only runs in the editor. When would a scene be loaded but not ready in the editor? I'm going to try that. I'm going to try adding this change receptor, which is what causes that method to be called at all, to happen. Oops, I didn't mean to delete the whole thing. Just copy it. We'll do it when we're ready. So we'll add. We won't even have this case exist if it's not in tools mode. Say notification. Ready. Get rid of this line. Oops. That looks relatively readable. We can try that. Try Gorilla Tag. I don't want to try Gorilla Tag. Or are you saying it's actually good? Like, Gorilla Tag looks cool, but like, I was worried about VR sickness. If it's a good one for VR sickness, I'll for real try it. I will for real try it. Gauntlet says, I was away for a bit. What is the issue? The actual code issue? We encountered this thing where loading a scene caused the scene to change, and we're trying to solve that. I think it's related to the changes we made on last stream. McLean said, I had a falling back feeling for a while, but I never got sick in VR. Okay, so you are saying Gorilla Tag is a good one, or are you just saying in general, DeClean, that you've never gotten sick at all in VR? AirC, Gorilla Tag was better than smooth locomotion, but it was still too intense for me. I had to stop 15 minutes or so in. Yeah, like 15 minutes when I'm in a game that has like really bad VR sickness is like my limit, where I think if I go any longer, I might like actually vomit. Actually real life vomit. Some other ones that were real bad for me is, have you ever played that ISS one, the one where you're in the International Space Station? That is so cool. It is like there's like these joysticks you can do to like move the robotic arm on the International Space Station, but my God, does that make me sick. I can manage like maybe 5, maybe 7 minutes in there. And playing the Blade and Sorcery last night, I kept feeling like if it would just move a little bit slower, maybe it would be fine. Because like I'm pressing the joystick, and every time I stopped pressing the joystick, I would physically go like, whoa. Like just the abruptness of the stop was messing with me. Okay, let me build this and we'll see if this helps. Ooh, and I guess I actually have to get rid of those changes to the scene. I'm going to add the C++ changes so I don't accidentally revert them at some point. I'll try to be very careful to revert the map changes and not our code changes. Oh, in general, the clean has never gotten VR sickness. You know, my pa, who's in his 70s, by the way, loves VR. He is super into VR. He experiences 0 VR sickness. And here I am, you know, 30-some years younger than him. And I get just the worst VR sickness. Oh, man. Yeah, with the pandemic, oh, did I cause some sort of error here? Yes, I did. What did I do? Just a typo. With the pandemic, being able to get together with my father in VR was really great. Was really great. There was a period of time for almost a year where I didn't see my parents at all, because we were really worried about my mom's health. That if she got the coronavirus, that it would just kill her. So we were super paranoid about that, and there was like a year-long period where I didn't see them at all, and being able to get together in VR with my pal was so cool. I think I may have inherited the VR sickness gene from my mom, because she tried VR once for about 30 seconds and could not handle it. She almost just flopped over. So that must be where I've gotten it. But we get together, we play ping pong, we play bowling, we play mini golf. My pa's really into roguelites, action roguelite games, which again, I need to remind you, he's in his 70s. He never played video games before, but like VR, he's like really into these action roguelite games. He's playing Into Death primarily, and he is so good at that game. I beat the boss in the first world one time. He beats that dude all the time. He's working on beating the bosses in the second and third worlds. I just cannot keep up. Anyway. Okay, so here's the football map. I'm going to save it. Let's check what happened. It changed again. How did it change? Jeez. So that didn't help. I wonder though, is it pre-existingly in an unstable state? And then from now on, if we make changes, will this not happen? Is there like, or are we putting it into an unstable state? So this actually seems fine. This looks good. This change seems correct, right? This is the kind of thing we want to happen. Based on the change we just made. Our fixed rotation has not changed, but the floating point rotation has corrected. I'm assuming because we can't represent this number, that this is actually this number, and this was some artifact. We might have to do some of these conversions by hand, just to see what's happening. So let's look at the first one, because this one is definitely one of the worst ones. It has a scale change and all this stuff. And I'll get a terminal. Do these in Python just cause. So let's start with the original fixed rotation. So the original fixed rotation is this. And how do we do this conversion again? We divide by 65536, and it comes out to this in Python's division here, which has a rotation of 643,797,643,799. So this original rotation is actually closer to this fixed rotation. So it does seem like we're looping back too many times. This does seem like it's corrupting it. All right, one more leap over into the C++. Let's walk through this code in our minds. And if we can't do it in our minds, we'll do it with breakpoints. Okay. Actually, I think I might know what's going on here. So, okay. Jam with me here, guys. So the floating point property changes, which calls this callback, which drops us into here. We do set fixed position. That updates our fixed position And then here we put it back to the floating point position. Wait, which won't loop back here. Never mind, never mind. I was wrong about that. It won't loop back here again because this is doing that. Oh, and actually even it shouldn't anyway because we're doing set transform, which at some point in time I commented out. Okay, we might have to walk through this with breakpoints. Or will it loop back here depending on... Okay, what does set transform call? Set transform calls canvas item set transform. That should be fine. Notify transform. Notify transform, notification, local transform changed. Transform changed, doesn't do anything. I think we're gonna have to do breakpoints. Let's figure out what we're gonna set and when, because we don't necessarily want this to fire as soon as the editor loads up. But we are going to start with our SG fixed node 2D. Well, I've been bringed. Who has bringed me? Thank you for whoever has just subscribed. It looks like Kunanen Kunham, I wish I knew how to pronounce your name, is heading to bed. Good night, sir. Take care. Hope to see you again. All right, so I guess we'll start with this because we know we loop back in this part. And we will also want to get a breakpoint in set fixed. I guess we're thinking mostly about rotation right now. So we're thinking about rotation. Let's go to set fixed rotation. And also we want to know when this is called too. Okay, and I'm going to disable all of these, and we are going to run the editor in the debugger, and I'll re-enable them right before we load the scene that we care about. And I gotta remember to undo the changes here. Ah! Okay. Loading. All right, so mods, core, maps. We're gonna load the football scene, but first we're gonna enable those breakpoints. Let's do it. Okay, so let's just first see where we're coming from here. So packed scene instance. All right, we are in the process of loading the scene. As a part of this, it is setting some properties, which leads us to object set and set property, which sends us down this path. We end up in node set position. Node set position is being called, which takes us to our changed callback here. Why is this being called now, though? Didn't we move this to onReady? Ah, okay. I forgot to delete the original code. Okay, that was a me fail. Sorry, everyone. We will kill this. We'll disable our breakpoints. We may actually have already fixed the problem. I just did a bad test of it. Okay. Let's run this again. More compiling, more loading. Yeah, the other roguelite VR game that my pa's getting into is Cosmodread. which is fun. It's fun. I played it over at his house a bunch, but I think I can basically do one run a night because it's so scary. And maybe I'll get used to it. But like, what is the most scary about it to me is the audio. Did an amazing job on the audio. You go into a room and there'll just be like this squelching noise that you hear inside of the walls, or this like chittering. And I'm pretty sure that the noise tells you which type of alien is infesting that room. Because like you'll go into a room that has the same layout or whatever, because it's randomly generated, and it won't always have the squelching, and it won't always have the chittering. And then there's certain enemies that just kind of infest a space and won't always attack you, but there's a chance that they'll like leap out of a like grate in the wall and like attack you. And if I knew the game a little better, I would know, that those are signals for particular gameplay things. But I don't know it that well. But that's a fun one. It's basically like, it feels a lot like you're playing Alien, like the movie, but of course not with a xenomorph, with their own kind of set of different alien creatures. Oh, I didn't save it. I need to save this scene. Let's see. All right, so there still are differences. Do they seem right, though? Or do they seem wrong? I still feel like both rotation and fixed rotation should not update. So what is the calculation we did here? 42192 was this, and that came up with this one, which when rounded comes out to thereabouts, and it's still doing the same thing. What the heck? Oh my god. This was not what I was intending to work on. But we need to solve it. This is important. We broke a thing. Guys, we broke a thing last week on stream. We need to fix it. Okay, let's undo this. Let's close here to whatever, reload, I guess, but like I'm gonna have to do it again, aren't I? Okay. I want to get those breakpoints again. And let's try loading the scene again. All right. So set fixed rotation is happening. We're doing it. Set fixed rotation. So this must become called from, yeah, so this is also from packed scene instance. All right. So set fixed rotation, good. We did not see any of the other properties, any of the floating point properties were here. So this seems good. Let's step over, step over, step over, step over. And I'm wondering if this change notify is going to trigger something. I hope not. Let's see. Didn't seem to. Okay, let me just continue. We'll see what we get to next. What's the continue button in this one? Here. So set fixed rotation happened again. Okay. So I'm just going to keep hitting continue and see when we suddenly find ourselves on some of these floating point properties. Well, this is nice though. Like we're getting only fixed rotation. We're not getting the changed callback quite yet. In fact, let me just disable this one for now. Is that this one? Nope. This one? Yep. Let's see when we do finally come around to the other side. Okay, update float transform. How did we get to update float transform? It was from internal process. Okay, so what happened was we loaded the scene. We only called the set fixed rotation. We didn't set any floating point stuff. Then we ended up here where we're now going to convert from our fixed values to our floating point values. So far, so good. We're setting this transform. Will this trigger something we don't want to happen? No. Interesting. Okay. So keep ending up here. This should be fine. This shouldn't be feeding back on itself yet. Okay, I guess let's remove this breakpoint so we can just continue through here till we hit the next point where we're going to break. And we don't get anything? What the heck? Okay, so we have fully loaded. We have 100% loaded. Everything looked fine. And this code was never called. So why are things getting messed up? I don't understand. Why on earth would saving break things? All right, let's re-enable all the breakpoints. And let's save now and see if that triggers anything. That triggered literally nothing. And yet, what is happening? Okay, so what actual node is this? This is team start position team 1. Team start position player 1. Team start position player 1, right? Team start position player 1. And it has this weird scale. Okay, whatever. Wait, why did we end up here? We shouldn't have ended up here. Because I touched the fixed scale. Okay, hang on. So set fixed scale. Notify changed. Then it comes here. Okay, and then none of these should actually run, because it's going to do that string comp. This will run. Is that a problem somehow? Step into this. Oh, geez. I don't know how we got on this, such this unfortunate tangent here. Okay. It didn't reset it though. Okay, let's disable these breakpoints. I don't know why that didn't do anything. Why can I not set this? Is it because it's mathematically not possible? So I slightly changed the rotation. Okay, what if my thinking about this is just wrong? Like, I'm thinking that somehow the data is getting corrupted. What if it's not getting corrupted? What if there was a problem previously with how scale was being integrated and we fixed the problem, and now that's changing everything, because scale really does screw up everything, right? So if you think about a 2D transform matrix, you have your x and y vectors, and it's the rotation of those that defines what your rotation value is, but those are just vectors, right? The actual rotation value isn't saved anywhere. And then scale is the length of each of those vectors. And so with our really low precision fixed point numbers, at certain rotations, certain scales won't be quite right. We end up with, this one was 65535 at that particular rotation. And then once you've scaled it, again, with our lower precision numbers, that can mess up what the rotation value is. Okay. Here's all we really need to know. We save this thing. All right, we've saved it. And then let me go add it. So now Git will help us keep track of differences. And now let's close it. And let's open it and save it again. Did it change again? It did. Even this exact same thing changed again. And it changed in a different way. This is a big bug. This is a big bug we need to fix. Let me do it again. I'm gonna add the football map again, and then I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna open it and save it again. Did it change again? It did. So previously the scale was slightly below 1, and now it's slightly above 1. Oh no. I may have to table this and just work on it more off stream. But yeah, we broke this. We broke this last week. I didn't notice that we had broken it. But now we'll need to fix it before we can save any of these maps again. Do we have any time? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to see if those code changes are even worth saving. I don't know that they are, because they didn't fix anything remotely related to this problem. Hey, what Notary, aka Ross? I hate to say it, but maybe we should never have added math to computers. I concur. Let's go back to the days when computers just had blinky lights, which of course was math. They were doing math with those blinky lights. I don't know. I don't think any of this is worth saving. I'm going to maybe make a branch for it just in case I want to peek in on it later. This will be rollback, perf, fix scene corruption. And I'm going to get rid of the football map changes. And just save these in this random branch. We'll say failed attempt to fix scene corruption. And yeah, I guess I'll push it. Why not? Branches are free, more or less. And we won't run CI because that's a waste of time. Let's go back to our rollback perf branch. And we did fix some bugs. So let's get in one more round of playtesting. I hope some folks are able to help playtest. There should be some new builds that appeared on GitLab CI. I will post the link again to grab the version that has had the 2 or 3 bug fixes we managed to make on stream. And it would be not the top build, because that's the skipped one that I just pushed, but the second build here from 36 minutes ago. Grab the version that is for your operating system. I'm, of course, grabbing the Linux version. Ooh, yeah, and I said I was going to put this link in the chat. Sorry. I'll go put it in the chat right now. Ross, your line actually reminds me of Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where they're saying, maybe it was a mistake coming down from the trees when we were, you know, evolving from monkeys to humans. I love Douglas Adams. And I'll get a match ID for everybody. Oops. Gotta remember which server I'm logging into and type correctly. All right. I will post this match ID. And hopefully some folks can get in there, do a real quick, we've got 5 minutes, 5 minutes for playtesting. I really would like to see some more, oh crap, guys, hang on. Sorry, I'm gonna have to give you a new match ID. I just remembered that I have this network relay set to this weird setting. Okay, I have to give you a new match ID. Sorry about that. Let me post a new match ID. And I also think I saw AirC come on for a second and then go off. That might have been due to a version mismatch. Hopefully I'm on the right version. Like, I just downloaded it. It should be good, right? Did you guys see me extract that? I hope I did. Let me look for my history here. Yeah, it looks like I just unzipped it. Okay, so I think I'm probably on the right version. Yeah, it says AirC left again. You guys are both on the most recent one up here? I might have screwed up downloading mine. Yeah, okay, let me try again. I'm going to try downloading this version. Maybe I screwed up extracting this file. Try one more time here. I will kill this. I'm going to delete the build. I just downloaded again. Let me check the timestamp on it. That is now okay. Sorry guys, if you both are having the same problem, probably I messed this up somehow. So let me get in here, and hopefully I'm now on the right version, and we will all be able to connect. Okay. Here is a new match ID, and hopefully we'll all be on the same version now, and we can get in there. We'll see if any of our bug fixes fixed them, since there were some we couldn't quite test, and we'll see if we encounter some of the degenerative situations where we get in kind of a failure loop, a death spiral, whatever you want to call it. I'm especially curious to see this particular match with AirC and Ross, because we are in very different geographical locations. I'll just do Battle Royale, the classic. Turn on my network overlay here. So this is looking pretty good. Just looking at the numbers. Very little artifacts with Ross. Ooh, I saw a tiny bit of artifacts with AirC when he did that abrupt turn. There was kind of a jump of his tank. Yeah, so I'm seeing a little bit of artifacts on AirC's tank. I don't know what you guys are doing. I'm going for some power-ups here. Whoa! I'm getting this power up. Ooh, you guys are going... Ah! If I don't just shoot myself all the time, you guys are going down. Eee! Oh, that was close. Wait, did I win? Ross, did you actually die? I thought I saw you still alive. Ooh, here we go. Look at the numbers up here. There's a relatively normal ping that's updating, and a remote and local lag that's really off. There we go. That was the situation. So that's what I still don't know I don't know what's causing that. And Ross said he was still alive. Okay, we got a little bit of time that was very short-lived. Let's do another. Ah. Where the heck is my window? There it is. Okay. New match ID. We'll try one more. So the you being still alive and it declaring me the winner, that sounds like some kind of state mismatch. And we didn't dig into any of the new state mismatches, and we know they're there because I see them in the logs. And then that situation where the just synchronization was lost as it was, like, that is the big problem. So the state mismatches, ooh, look at all those state mismatches that came right at the beginning. The state mismatches, I mean, that's just hard work, you know, going in there, finding the bugs, fixing the bugs. But that situation where we should have a... Oh, no! No! If I could have picked up that zap, I might have been saved. Oh, I really enjoy watching other people play from the camera view, the watch camera. All right, let's see if we can make it through another round. Overall, the numbers are looking good. The state mismatches is not great, but this is holding together pretty well. Oh, here we go. With AirC. Oh, both of you guys. I'm seeing low pings, but high lags. And I don't know what's causing that. Man. So after working down this list of bugs, I think that's what I'm going to be doing all next week, is trying to figure out the cause of that, just like, you know? Because our pings should not be causing that. We had really good ping. Oh, where did the... I guess I accidentally had the overlay not working. Well, thanks Ross and AirC for helping test that. I'm hoping to try and get a handle on that sometime next week, and then we can put together a you know, play session, a 3-4 player play session over Discord. I'll ping you guys, see who's around. But man, we are getting so close. We are so close. I just want to finish this. Just want to finish it. And of course, thanks everyone for coming, participating in the stream. It's always a good time chatting with you folks and getting access to the hive mind. I hope you all have a good weekend, and I'll talk to you in Discord and on the next stream. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.